Hello, everyone. Welcome to Popcast on the Rocks. We're a podcast that talks about pop culture things that interest us. And sometimes there's whiskey. My name is John, and I'm joined as always by Andrea. How is it going this evening?
Good, good. Happy Monday. Happy start to your week or your work
Yes.
week at least, however you count it.
hmm hmm Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
how's your
we got
weekend been?
good. Um, yep. Productive and cold. Those things.
I know. I'm
But
wearing my snowflake sweater because Minnesota just got hammered by snow today.
yeah, it's very light by us. It was very nice, pretty flurries and stuff like
Yes.
that. It's very pleasant, is
Yeah,
it
when I say hammered, I don't mean like the nasty, evil, like blanketing snow. I just mean like I wasn't ready for it to be so constant. Like
okay.
I knew it was
Okay.
gonna snow and the morning came and I was like, yep, there it is. And then, when it was still 3, 4 PM and going strong, I was kinda like, "Really? Still?"
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, well, I managed to to do stuff to stay warm inside plenty this weekend as well.
Good.
So we'll talk about a few of those things coming up. On the show tonight, we're gonna be discussing a few of the new releases that we're getting thrown
Mhm.
at us now. It's kind of the season where everybody starts releasing their video games for sure, anyways. Some news stories, some disappointing, some sad, some uh, some more disappointing. We'll get there.
Wow, this
Um,
show's just going downhill.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, and kind of the big story I want to talk about at the end then is the whole Doom Mick Gordon
Mhm.
thing that maybe some of you have heard of, but I think it's kind of a big deal. So,
Yeah,
um, yeah. But before that, we got drinks, right? Always drink
that's
holidays.
right. That's right. If you're out there shivering and shoveling through the snow, as I know my hubby is doing right now, thank you. Um, Here's some drinks to warm you up once you get inside or fortify you against the cold. Um, November 7th was International Merlot Day, if you're a wine drinker. And then the following day, on the 8th, you kind of had like a little, you know, roulette wheel of choices here. We're kind of running the gamut of different things that you could have. It
Wow.
was Cappuccino Day. It was Harvey Wallbanger Day, which is fun to say and fun to drink. And it's also good old fashioned shot day. So, if you don't want to take your time to pick out your drink, just grab a bottle, pour yourself a little something, wash it down.
Mhm,
Easy as that.
mhm. Fireball in the cold, I guess. Everybody
Yep,
seems
yep.
to be drinking Fireball still these days.
Yes. Not that I will be partaking this year, but it is a tradition at one of my friends' Christmas parties to do fireball and rum chata shots. And that's
Oh,
just
yeah, that's just sugar all
yeah.
everywhere. Yeah.
Yep, it is. But it's at this point, I mean, the tradition's been going so long, like, we're all just, it's happening.
Mhm, mhm.
We can't
You
change it.
have you have a few drinking traditions. You got that one, and you got
Yes.
the horrible whatever stuff that,
Malorts.
yeah, friend of the show is, yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. One of my friends who introduced me, thank you, to Malorts, promised to have a bottle ready for me post delivery. So
Yay, I bet you're so excited.
yay. I mean, at that point, maybe even the taste of tar, rubber bands, and pine needles will be exciting to me at that point. I don't know.
Nice. Nice, okay.
But so yeah, so November 8th, big, big day. And then we skipped a couple days. November 12th, it was happy hour day. So there, again, like a roulette wheel of choices, whatever you dig at happy hour drink
Mhm,
in honor on November 12th. And then
mhm.
today it is Tempranillo Day, which is a type of wine, if you are unfamiliar.
Yeah, I've not had that as far as I'm
Me
aware.
neither. Me neither. I just realized we were closing and ending the week with wine days. So that was kind of like a very cool mirror there.
Yeah.
Like the
I
symmetry.
haven't had wine in a while because,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm not going to drink a bottle myself.
Right, right.
And, Ashley's not
It
really going to
does
have
feel
any.
weird.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
just,
wine does feel like more of a social activity drink. It's
hmm
weird when you just, like, open up a bottle and you're like, "Me."
hmm yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I never do at a restaurant. Like, I've honestly been having a lot less alcohol these days. Like, the thing that keeps me drinking is this podcast. Like, that's what, and that sounds wrong, I guess, but it's just the way it is. It's in the
Glad we could
name.
serve a purpose in your life.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, great. Yeah, I saw you had something not water there.
Yes, yes. You know what? I decided that I was gonna do something at least a little bit close to one of the days. And one of my favorite drinks to order at happy hour is a margarita. So I have a little mocktail margarita here, and it's got my
Nice.
favorite spicy edge to it.
Oh
So
yeah,
I was like, you know what? I can pretend for a little bit here.
yeah.
And it's in my Green Bay Packer glass because finally we had some good news for my team this week. Yeah, baby.
Ah, okay. Okay, I
So
was just gonna say they haven't been doing so hot, so
no, they haven't. This week, they kind of got a win that was both, like, well played and just eked out at the same time.
okay.
But I'll take it. I'll take it because the Vikings got the same with the Bills, so cheers.
Yeah, I heard that was crazy, or at
Mhm.
least I heard some people talking about it that it was really nail biting. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, there were some crazy plays that just, like, you absolutely couldn't believe happened on top of each other, like fumble recoveries in the end zone for touchdowns and like last minute interceptions, like just it was just craziness that all of this worked out to happen.
Hmm, hmm.
So,
Well,
and the
but
Packers game was kind of the same way.
you must actively root against the Vikings though, right? I mean, you need them
I
weaker in the division.
I mean, yes, I would like that. But I try to be fair to Chris and we try to
Right.
root for each other when we're not playing each other.
Okay.
Um I mean, at the outset of the game, like, we kind of both accepted that the Bills were a better team, so we were just thinking, like, the Vikings should just put up a
Sure.
good game, and it'll be
Okay.
good to watch, and then at the end, it was just, like, so crazy, I was like, "I don't even know what I want to happen here, but this football game is whack." So, it
Nice.
was entertaining.
Fun. Um, well, yeah. Good for you. Congrats
Yes.
to the Packers.
Yes, thank
Um,
you.
I am drinking what feels very,
Ooh,
I don't know, millennial, I guess. A
feels very
short. The only thing is,
holiday-esque. I like it.
yes, yes, it is. Ashley found a sparkling cranberry and ginger drink
Mm,
at Trader Joe's,
okay.
and it's recommended to add vodka to it if you want. So I have that with vodka, a few cranberries in there, orange peel, a little orange juice. So
I like
whatever
it.
you want to call that, but
All right, mini diatribe right here. I really like your
mhm.
drink because it reminds me of Thanksgiving. And for me, Thanksgiving is like the most tragically overlooked holiday. I
Yes,
love Thanksgiving and I hate the absolute like pandemonious rush. I'm making up a word here for how angry I am from Halloween to Christmas time with just like no thoughts for Thanksgiving.
I agree. I concur. We've had Ashley and I have had this discussion plenty, and we've gotten frustrated because specifically this year, I've heard more people call out that they are ready to go immediately to Christmas after Halloween. And
Yep.
normally I don't hear people like state that. It just seems to
Right.
happen. But this year I've had like I have they're like I have no shame. After Halloween, it is Christmas time. Lights go
No.
up.
No.
Yeah, I agree.
Rude.
I
Yeah, this
yeah.
year in particular, like, I was really mad because when I walked into stores, there was already Halloween stuff on clearance on like the 28th and 29th of
Oh,
October,
man.
and
Yep.
Christmas stuff was already out. People, for God's
Yep.
sake, like, give it a rest.
Yep.
Like, God, it was just so sad. It was so sad to see.
Mhm.
I mean, first of all, because Halloween is my favorite holiday, but then just to, like, see that we couldn't even have that anymore, and, like, Christmas had to overtake that, and Halloween stuff was on clearance, like, 2 days before. Like, how pathetic is that?
Yeah. And Halloween's big. Like,
Halloween
they
is
sell a
big.
ton of candy and stuff like that. It's
Yes.
all kind it works very well for movies and events and things, you know?
Mhm.
So, it's multicultural, whether, it's, like, the kinda traditional American sense of it or the Day of the
Right.
Dead sort of elements.
Right.
Tell me if you agree with this or not. In my
Okay.
opinion, you should be Halloween is September through October.
Mhm.
November is Thanksgiving.
Mhm.
December and January is Christmas.
I agree.
They get 2
Completely
months.
agree.
You get 2 months. You can leave your decorations up a little
Yep.
longer because it still feels like you're working towards New Year. It's still festive.
Exactly.
You still keep that going. And
Yep.
then by the end of January, it's like, yeah, it's time to move on. And,
Right.
Valentine's will be coming up before you know it.
Right.
Why
No,
can't
I think
that's plenty of time for all these holidays. That's giving Halloween 2 months, Christmas
yep.
2 months, and Thanksgiving, you're saying one of your favorite holidays is still
Yes.
just getting 1. Can it just
Right.
have the 1?
Right.
Yeah.
Can we not just, like, pause and breathe? Do we I mean, I don't know. It feels weird to say because I do like Christmas also. I mean, I don't know
Yes.
many people who don't, but, like, it's just so much. Like,
Mhm.
it's just so, like, forced and, like, shoved down your throat kind of thing that it takes away some of the enjoyment for me to, like, try to keep that sustained the whole time. And
Yeah.
while I take the spirit of Christmas and I don't mind, like, you know, extended time to, like, think about, like, being together with loved ones and, like, the spirit of giving and that sort of, like, positive messaging of Christmas, like, that's not what's happening here. It's the commercialization of
Yeah, right.
Christmas. We're not taking,
Yeah.
like, 2 months to be like, "Let's think about the spirit of giving to others and, like, volunteering," and, like,
Yep.
thinking like, "Oh boy, we better like, volunteer at a soup kitchen or start like a donation," or like some people do. But I do feel that that doesn't happen until more of December. And like the
Yep.
early stuff is just like I'm going to play Christmas carols, like bake cookies, like buy presents, buy decorations because everybody has to have like the biggest, bestest decorated house. Ugh, diatribe,
Yeah,
diatribe.
well, no, and I mean, like you say, most people you don't know too many people that don't like Christmas. I agree,
Right.
but this sort of thing does turn people off to
Yes.
Christmas at times because that's where Ashley has said plenty of times before, "Oh, I don't, Christmas, bah humbug. I don't like Christmas
Mhm.
or whatever." She doesn't actually mean that. What she means is, yeah, I don't want Christmas music in the stores when I'm still looking,
Yes.
waiting for Halloween or
Yes.
when, it's just like there's all kinds of things like this that you would turn people off if
Mhm.
you overdo it and it's being
Yes.
overdone. Things are being crowded. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
They're
I've been
missing
on the
marketing
radio.
opportunities to appreciate Thanksgiving. They're
Exactly.
missing a whole 'nother sales thing by just skipping it and going to Christmas.
And I feel like I also get frustrated because I love fall. Like fall is one of my favorite seasons. And to me, like that extends to Thanksgiving. Like, yes, there is snow on the ground right now. I get that.
Mhm.
But like to me, like the spirit of Thanksgiving feels in the fall. So
Yeah.
like why can't I have more like pumpkins and leaves and turkeys and cornucopia type things up
Yep.
for longer? Like I enjoy
Yep.
that.
Yeah,
So,
everything kind of transitions well when you do it properly. Like
mhm.
how you can start adding those kind of fall things in September and it starts getting spookier and scarier as you go, as you
Yes.
add the skeletons. And then after that, the skeletons start going away, but the other kind of folly things stay. And like you say, then you add the cornucopias and stuff like that. And then that starts to, you're throwing your pumpkins away and
Right.
you're starting to put out sparkly lights. All
Yes.
makes sense. Come on.
Yes.
Come on,
My
America.
God, look at us just fixing this whole like September to December season. We got you,
all it
everybody.
all it takes is a couple big stores to take a stand.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would turn some stuff around.
Like, I don't remember when exactly it was now. But it was a couple of years ago when stores started taking stands on like, we're not
Yep.
going to open like our Black Friday sales on Thanksgiving. This is ridiculous.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like they were like, I know like we keep pushing it back, but like we're starting to cut into people's actual holiday time and this is dumb. Like we're not doing it.
Yep.
Thank you. Like
Mhm.
I mean, at that point like why even celebrate Thanksgiving? Let's just like get rid of it because it's really just like Christmas, pause Black Friday, Christmas. Like we're not
Yeah.
even having a holiday. So,
Yep.
yeah. So take a
I I'm
stand people. You
perfectly
can do it.
I'm perfectly fine with whatever business making the decision they want. But yeah, perfectly cool to have that and not, I get it. Like a lot of people, they have their, what people do on holidays is they go to a
Mhm.
movie or they go to a thing. And so it is a service industry that sacrifices so everybody else
Right.
can have that. I do understand that. But yeah, but it shows the power that, a few companies can have if they want to do that. And then it's now it's even more meaningless. Like
Mhm.
you're just making all these people go out really early for this because I know some people are having fun with it, but Best Buy has been having Black Friday sales for weeks.
Exactly.
It's you can go right now. This morning I saw a TV, a nice one for $1,000 off, and you can just order it.
Yep.
You don't
Yep.
have to be in line. You don't have to fight the thing. You don't have to like sacrifice some sort of family time or whatever
Mhm.
to not even get that then anyways, because you
Right.
weren't fourth in line because they had,
Right.
three of them or whatever,
Right.
So yeah. Well, I'm glad we agree.
Yes. This could be really awkward. If I was just like pulling up a radio with Christmas carols in the background,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, no.
Mhm.
I was actually deeply upset the other day when I turned on my car radio, um, and I forgot one of the stations that flip around between sometimes starts with the Christmas music November 1st. I flipped it over and I was like,
Mm.
"What is this? What? Oh, it's a Christmas carol. Damn it." Well,
So you
like skipping you for a while.
Mhm. So you listen to the radio yet?
In my car, I do, yeah. I mean, I also
Okay.
drive like an old school 2005. Like, if you want to hook up your phone and play music through the car, you have to get like a little Bluetooth, you know,
Yeah.
transmitter to do
Transmitter,
so.
yeah.
So, yeah, so I do
Okay.
listen to the radio. Um,
Okay.
it's kind of like for me like a fun throwback that, just
Yeah.
because not a lot of people do anymore. So,
Yeah, someone just like I had a poll about that recently or whatever, and
oh, funny.
asking
Okay.
if you still listen to the radio or not. And
Mhm.
I don't know the results of the poll. It was I don't even know if I answered the poll. I just saw it there, and so someone's asking, if it's still a viable thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. For me it is, cuz yeah, I mean, I have a couple of morning shows that like during the pandemic I really didn't listen to cuz I was just at home, but now that I'm like going back to work and just like, "Oh yeah, I used to do that and I used to like that."
sure, yeah, nice. All right. Well, listen to a couple radio shows. What else have you done this week?
um yeah, so I've kind of done like a hodgepodge of things. I continued on watching the new Netflix series, Romantic Killer. It is continuing to be adorable and fun, and the like magical elements of the storyline. Um, I'm continuing to enjoy the way they're like incorporated and worked in to further, the romantic plot lines of this like
Okay.
video game come to life. It's very cute.
It
So
we
well
so we only
done.
watched the first one, and based off that, we were like, it's very frenetic. It's
Yes.
very go. Does that
It
hold
calms
for the
down.
next
I mean,
okay. It's
there's
just like
obviously, like
exposition?
yeah. There's obviously, like, scenarios that are designed to be frenetic, like the, like,
Mhm,
accidental this or that, or, like, bumping into each other, and, like, there's, like, a cutesy thing that happens, and then the characters are like, "Oh!"
mhm.
Um, so, yeah, so, I mean, there's frenetic moments, but, like, it does calm down on the whole.
Okay,
So then there's, like, quieter moments of, like, bonding or, like, exploration of character. Yeah.
okay. Nice.
So, I'm having fun with it. Something I'm not having fun with, though, anymore, Great British Baking Show. I'm on,
What?
like, I know, the second to last episode of the season, and they just voted off my favorite guy, and I'm so
Ah,
sad.
no
I
spoilers.
I don't know if he deserved it or not based on his baking abilities. There was kind of like maybe a question mark of like it was one of those weeks where like either of two people could truly go and you weren't sure
Mhm.
who. And they kicked off my guy, and I'm so sad.
Um, that's too bad.
It is too
Well,
bad.
do people on here have they all, like, have bakeries or something, right? Or they work at a place, or
No,
are they, like, new up and coming, or is it a
you
mix?
you have to be an amateur.
Oh,
You
okay.
have to. That's part of the rules. There's no like professional level bakers allowed. I think you can have maybe worked at a cafe, or something, but you couldn't have been like the owner or like the head, patisserie
Could have
chef
done
or
an
something like.
internship or something like
Yeah,
that, or
right, right. Or like, if you were like working the counter or whatever and maybe like bake some cookies, like I don't think they're gonna throw you out for that. Though I obviously
okay,
haven't read the rules very closely. But yes, no professionals allowed.
okay. Hmm.
So that's why
That's too
they kind of
bad.
get like a fun mix of characters, like and a fun mix
Mhm.
of people with various skills that you can tell like some of them have just been baking for years, so there's just like, yeah, I know how to make the thing. So they do really well in
Yeah.
like the technical where you have to like blind bake something because they're like, sure, I just like know a recipe for that.
Yes.
And then some of them are newer and they're all about like design and aesthetics, but sometimes they miss on taste, or like some of the older bakers can like just really nail a flavor and then cannot decorate to save their lives, or they can't like construct something.
Right.
So yeah, so you really kind of get like a mix of people, and it's, just finding that person who's got it all or close.
Mhm. See, I love, and I think people do in general. I suppose there's a bunch of people that prefer the opposite, but I love watching people that clearly excel at their craft.
Sure.
I absolutely love when I was always on a baking show or cooking show when they, like you say, they could whip up anything. They're not needing to hardly measure. They just
Right.
go and they can make this dough. They just understand it and can do it. Versus I never much liked the shows that were it was like Anne Burrell and Bobby Flay doing the worst cooks in
Oh, worst
America or
cooks in America.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, or even like American Idol, they'd spend all the time with people that really couldn't sing well at all.
Yeah.
I would rather not watch people. I mean, I have ridiculousness to see people like hurting themselves or whatever. But other than that, like I want to see people doing amazing things and I'm confident they're really good at what they do. I love seeing that.
Sure. I'm confident that this is probably one of the first times that Great British Baking Show and ridiculousness have been brought up in the same sentence, in the same comparative conversation. No, I agree with you though. It is like it's one of the reasons that I love like something like Iron Chef.
Yeah.
Even though I know it's not like, I don't know, it's not everything about it, that competition isn't real. Like they, don't like make everything that they do in like those exact like 5 hours or whatever. And they don't go into it like totally blind about like ingredients that they can use for things. Like, I get it.
Mm.
There's some certain manufactured drama, but it's always fun watching somebody just with this like creative genius, and the knowledge to pull something like that off, like these 5-star gourmet, insane dishes that you're just like, "How?" Because they just know.
Yep.
Um, Whereas I feel like so Great British Baking Show isn't like worst cooks in America because 'cause they're not bad. You have to have a
Mhm.
certain amount of skills that like, they put you through a series of tests to get you there. So but I mean, it's not like Iron Chef level either. It's just sort of like people who are really good in their spare time. But sometimes, like,
Right.
their spare time is, like, almost like a full-time job. Like, that's how much they bake and care
Sure.
about baking. So it's kind of like somewhere in between, so at least you don't feel like, you're just watching somebody fail over and over
Yeah.
again, um,
Yep.
and try to get better, like and sometimes people do come up with just some, like, amazingly creative stuff. Um, but yeah, I think it's just probably, like, what makes it successful is it almost seems accessible, like, you could do it because they call them amateurs, so it seems like, "I could start baking and maybe do this."
Sure.
And then the other thing is just, like, the absolute, like, heartwarming nature of people who help each other.
Mhm.
Because everybody always, like, if somebody's, like, running behind and they're like, "Oh my god, I'm not gonna finish my bake," like, the other bakers will just, like, swarm in and be like, "What do you need? Like, I'll assemble this, and, like, you put the frosting on that one, and, like, we're gonna get this on the plate," and it's just, like, the cutest. So,
Did they account for that in judging? Like, you needed help?
sometimes they do.
Okay.
Um, they do in the sense of, like, if you needed help, and you didn't get something, like, all the way on the plate, or it's, like, messy because somebody didn't know, like, your vision and just, like,
Right.
threw something on the you know what I mean? And they'll talk to you about, like, time management, and that's sort of, like, the euphemism they use about, like, you needing help.
Mm. Yeah, right. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
they don't wanna, like, call out the bakers and have them not help them, because I think they
Right.
understand, like, one of the heartwarming aspects of the show.
Yeah.
But yes, they do notice that.
And I do like that because I understand there's a place for something like Hell's Kitchen or whatever,
Oh,
but
sure.
I love the shows that are they don't have the drama. It's
Mhm.
professional, it's fun, it's just it doesn't have to be a reality show in that sort of sense. So,
Yes. Yeah.
mhm. Cool.
Yes. So I watched that, and then, next Friday will be the finale, so we'll see who wins the season. Can't believe it's already happening. But yeah, Great British Baking Show is one of the shows that releases week by week, and I think it's continued to be successful that way
Mhm.
because it stays
Yep.
in the conversation. Otherwise, people just, like, binge it and forget it. So,
Yep.
kudos to marketing team. Something I did binge and sort of wish I could forget is season 6 of the CW turned Netflix show Riverdale. I started
Okay.
Riverdale a long, long time ago, back when it was a very different show than it is today. But the
Right.
creator of Riverdale also did The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which I absolutely loved. And in season 6, because, Sabrina was canceled, he basically just, like, crossed the universes and made
Ah,
Riverdale kind of, like, blend into Sabrina with many guest appearances by Sabrina herself. So, the creator was just like, "Screw you. Like, I'm gonna make this happen," and kinda, like, turn these shows into each other. Um which was fun for a while, but then also just sort of reminded me that I just missed The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina because for the show Riverdale to start being like Sabrina, it was very much like the show has strayed far from what it once was and to its detriment,
mhm.
unfortunately. So,
Okay.
but it
Yeah,
was
I've
it was
heard that,
enough to, like, make me binge it, I guess. I started it and was like, "Well, I've gotta finish it now," so
okay. Yeah, I've always heard that Riverdale, like, falls off. I don't know at what point, but that it
sharply.
really falls off, yeah.
Sharply, yeah. Season 1 is amazing. Season 2 is up and down, but you sort of feel like it could be saved, and then by season 3, there's a really cool start and then just, like, an absolute plummet, I think, in my
Okay.
personal opinion.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so I got through that. Something else that's sadly, in my opinion, coming to a close, is the webtoon series True Beauty. It's had a couple of seasons now, I think a couple of hundred episodes. I've really enjoyed it as a webtoon. So I was sad to see the series wrap up. Then I remembered that it was turned into a K-drama. So I think I'm going to start that.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
I
Is
didn't
that on
know when it had
Netflix?
no, you have to like find it on the streaming on the web cuz it's a Korean show like produced for Korean television. I don't think it was ever produced for like the intent to distribute in America.
Someone could pick it
They
up yet.
they could pick it up yet and they've also talked about perhaps remaking an American version. I don't think by no, I don't think by that they mean like an actual like American version. I think they just mean like an American-based company like Netflix or some other like American-based streaming service would pick up the rights to the show, new cast, make it
What
for their
makes you
platform.
well, yeah, that's it then. That's a
I
remake.
mean,
That's not
it's a remake, but all I'm trying to say is I don't think it would be like in English with an American cast. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
disapprove. Disapprove. I don't wa I see again, why would you spend the money? Just
I don't
subtitle
know.
it,
I
you
don't
know?
know. But
So,
that's what I gathered from the announcements that I was like trying to sift through and
okay.
see if this was like actually happening. And that was like my best guess as to what they were trying to do.
Hmm. Well, yeah, so you'd have to find online and then someplace that has it,
Yeah,
subbed.
there's a streaming service that I found. Um, I don't remember what it was. I was scrolling around a little bit ago. That has it. So I was like, "Oh, well, hopefully they have either subtitles or they have it subbed."
Dubbed,
Um,
yeah, that would
yeah, sorry.
not be preferable,
Subtitled
but
or
yeah.
dubbed. Um, yeah, I don't know
Hmm.
what this
So,
series is, but
this must have wrapped up a while ago then, or is the show not caught up? Is the show still
2021.
going? Okay,
2021 is when the show aired, and it looks like from what I can see of like the episode synopses, it ended like kind of midway through. So like the webtoon
okay,
is split into two seasons, so it looks like it covered season 1 of the webtoon.
okay.
So, and 2021 to me is feasible enough to see if like they're going to make a season 2
Yeah,
and just like complete out the webtoon. And we're maybe just
sure,
waiting for her to like officially publish it.
sure. Cool.
So, yeah.
Well, yeah, to
So
let me know how that adaptation is.
I will. I will. Like I said, I really like the webtoon, so hopefully they didn't do it dirty in the adaptation there.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, they kinda have a good pipeline set up with this sort of thing, Korea's really trying to support their
Mhm.
webtoon creators, and they totally understand, like,
Yeah.
this is an audience for, webtoon readers, and then those creators are definitely hoping and thinking of that eventually being made into a K-drama or something like that, and
Mhm.
so it keeps the creators involved in in the process, and I haven't heard any major complaints of, "Wow, someone took my thing that was a webtoon and really turned it on its head, and it's not
Right.
what I envisioned at all." I just haven't heard that. It seems pretty positive generally, so,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, which maybe means that like an American-based company or production studio shouldn't be jumping in there and
I
doing
would
it if it's if it's positive so far because we all know how that can go sometimes.
Yeah, I
Um
mean, it's worked out for Netflix. I think that they've
yeah.
generally just
To just
bought the
pick it up,
rights
you
to.
mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
their attempts at doing their own versions, we've obviously talked about like most notably Cowboy Bebop flopping. Um though they do tend to do original things well.
Yeah,
So I think that's
right.
the difference. So, like, if you don't already have, like, the version out there, they've done originals well, but it's
Yeah.
terrible when they try to, like, remake something. So,
Yep.
we'll see. And then the
Mhm.
last couple of, things I did, I started a few movies. I started Where the Crawdads Sing, which was, like, a popular novel a couple of years ago by Delia Owens, I think.
Mhm.
So far so good. I like that a lot. It's a murder mystery, and, keeping on that same theme, because apparently that's what I'm into these days, I started on HBO Max, See How They Run, which is
Okay.
another murder mystery-based show, with Saoirse Ronan and, Sam Rockwell, oh my gosh, Adrian Brody. I was like, "Man, the skinny guy from The
Oh,
Pianist."
okay.
Um
You're saying.
And that's been pretty good so far. I really like it. It's a fun, like, little meta drama where it's, like, set around, like, the cast of characters, playwrights, directors who are putting on an Christie murder mystery and trying to translate it into a film, and then somebody gets killed, and so then, like, the actors are all, like, the cast of characters, and there's, you know, under suspicion for real. It's fun. It's very meta and enjoyable so far.
Huh. I hadn't, I mean, I feel like I've heard the title before,
Yeah,
but,
I brought it up on the cast before because that one and another, period set murder mystery were coming out at the same time, and it was just, like, these commercials that I was
hmm.
Amsterdam, um, was coming out, and then, the trailer had just dropped for the next, Knives Out, movie. So all 3 of the trailers for those movies had dropped within, like, a week of each other, and I was just, like, watching all of those trailers like, "Oh my god, like, there's so much of the same movie happening right now."
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I
Yep.
decided to watch this one, because it was available mostly, and so far so good.
Cool. Nice.
Mhm.
Yeah, I actually watched the Crawdads one with her parents and
Oh,
liked
yeah.
that one a lot, so, yeah.
Mhm. Good, I will keep going
Mhm.
then.
Nice. Well, yeah, that's a good variety of things. I tried to continue on with our going through the Conjuring universe stuff,
Yes.
and we ruined the whole thing and accidentally skipped a movie.
Whoops.
We were supposed to
Done.
watch the
So
last
close.
Annabelle movie, and we ended up watching The Curse of La Llorona, and I just felt I can't believe it. That we ruined it. We can't go back,
All
you
that
know?
time
It's
invested.
I know. So, anyways, this is the 5th one we watched. Should have
Mhm.
been the 6th. Um, it was the weakest one by far. I was surprised. I was
Sad.
really pretty bored because I like the legend, which is
Yeah.
based around that's cool. There was kind of a guy in there that I feel like they're maybe setting up that it could potentially do more movies with him that could have been cool, but he needed more backstory. We need to understand him a little
Sure.
bit more. And instead they kind of wasted time with a needless tie-in to the Conjuring universe. Like there's
Mm,
basically this has nothing to do with Conjuring other than one thing that didn't need to be there. And so if they had
mm,
taken that whole thing out and spent time better someplace else, um, yeah, this was the one that I just really it didn't really hold my attention.
mm.
It was simultaneously too slow to start and too quick, like, without building tension, you know?
Oh, sure.
It's
Yeah,
like
no, I get it.
yeah, because it's like, okay, I wanna be enthralled here, I wanna be pulled in, so I'm not getting that, so it feels slow, but at the same time, you're not making me anxious, we're not building to
Right,
something,
right.
um, so, yeah, I thought this one was disappointing, unfortunately, so
That's a bummer. I was
Yeah.
actually really excited that you'd watched it because one of the Riverdale episodes I watched was like literally a mini story about La Llorona.
Oh,
And I was like, "Oh my
okay,
god, how fitting. How cool." And it was actually a well done story, so damn.
cool. Yeah, I like the tale. Good
Mhm.
thing to scare your kids with, but, yeah. And then if we're gonna be talking about video games later here, a lot more of them. But I finished a couple
Yes.
games. So Resident Evil 2, I can't remember. It feels like I finished this a while ago, but I rolled credits on this one with Leon the first playthrough,
Mhm.
and it was very good. I can see how some people didn't like remake because if they played two, especially maybe you played two again to like refresh and get ready for three, how it can feel samey, you know.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I get that because I blew through three and really enjoyed it a lot. So I like this. I was thinking about I should have put up a poll like who's the scarier like continual threat? Is it the tyrant in 2? Is it
Mhm.
Nemesis in 3? Or is
Mhm.
it like what's her face in Village? Can't think
Oh,
Lady Dimitrescu.
yeah.
Like who is the more ominous, foreboding, you know?
Yeah.
I I don't know for
These
sure what my answer is yet.
I would probably say not Village. I mean,
Really?
she's
Okay.
she's so like she's such a fun character, Lady Dimitrescu. And she pops up unexpectedly, which I love. Like she continues to be part of the game, but not enough. Not enough to like have her feel like foreboding over the whole thing.
Okay.
You know what I
Sure.
mean?
Yeah, because it's part of the game. It's not. Yes. I
Yeah.
get that.
Like, she is such a strong villain. Like,
Mhm.
you say her name and people are like, "Yeah, like, good character." But, yeah, just not present enough.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. That's a good argument because I was thinking maybe her at first because I
Mhm.
definitely had moments where I'd be going through a door and like, "Oh, shit."
Right.
And it
Oh,
just is like
totally.
right there, you
Totally.
know?
Yeah.
Um,
Just when you think she's
so
gone, she's there, and she's, like
yeah.
her, like, very uncanny ability to stalk you so far.
Yeah.
Like, there
I'm just
you
like
have to really move to find, like, a safe haven or, like, a moment to get away from her.
mhm. I'm
So,
just like
yeah, I
camping
totally
out
get that.
with the Duke,
Yes.
and I'm just like, "All right, so you can't come in here. It's good." Yeah. I think I agree with that. The other thing too is like she's pretty quick, but you're quicker in Village
Yes.
than you are in the more tanky like of 2
Yep.
and 3.
Yep.
So I probably give it to the Tyrant because
Yeah.
the
That's my
the
thought as well.
footsteps, there's just thud, thud,
Mhm.
thud, and see, getting closer and closer. So that well, I remember when he first showed up, and I just knew this was gonna be a continuing thing. I was like, "I don't know if I can
Mhm.
keep playing this. Like, it's gonna be too much," you know? But
Yes.
eventually it was fine, so, yeah.
Yeah, it very much reminds me of one of my favorites, and I know your favorites too, Alien with Heartbeat. You know what
Mm,
I mean?
yeah.
Like, once you realize that sound is, like, present enough for you to, like, identify, you're just like, I think there's just something wonderfully, like, visceral about, like, sound building that way,
Yeah,
that just, like, amps that up.
yep. I'd hear the thumping, and then I'd
Mhm.
run to get a little further ahead, and then that would call the attention of the lickers.
Mhm.
Ah, but so
Yep.
I'm trying to decide if I wanna go through a second playthrough with, Claire.
Sure.
Um So, a playthrough B. So I might do
Mhm.
that yet, we'll see. But I instead of doing that, picked up God of War,
Right.
the kind of
Saw
soft
that.
reboot that was 2017 or whatever it was, 2018, something. Um, and I had never finished that game. Yeah, thanks, Alan. He says 2018. Um,
Mhm.
but I felt like, I played it quite a bit, but I was worried about starting again, not
Mhm.
the controls and the way you fight in that game are quite different. So I thought just gonna die constantly. But Ashley's been replaying it, and she was getting near where I knew I was. So then I started playing, and she just watched me finish the rest of the game. So then now she can move on to Ragnarok, because that's the thing she wanted to replay it. I wanted to finish it before Ragnarok. So I say I rolled credits on it because there's tons of stuff I didn't do in there. All kinds of side quests and things that I could have done, but I finished out this main story. So yeah.
Sorry.
Ounce of the Valkyries, yes.
My dog is making a
Oh,
surprise
hey.
appearance on the podcast.
Oh, you got
Hello,
get him a little
Leah.
closer, pups. There we go.
Ah! Yep, she heard you.
Yep.
Down, baby dog.
Everybody likes seeing the dogs come
Oh,
by.
well then she's
Just gonna be a
you know,
guest.
just gonna show herself off a little bit more. She's
Yeah.
obviously a lot bigger than Ivy was, my previous dog, so she
Yeah.
can get up there a little
How
bit easier.
and she's still very young, right? How old?
She is a puppy. She just turned 1.
Okay. Yep. Oh my
She thinks we're
gosh. She's
playing a
just gonna have
game now.
to sit in Andrea's lap, I think, and just that'll go well, right? What's
Yes,
happening on the computer? What's going
for
on over
sure.
there? Maybe I
Right.
can lick something.
Go lay down. Go lay down. Go lay down. Thank
Well,
you.
if you ever, she needs your attention, you can just pop off the camera for a second and whatever, and
For
I'll
sure.
ramble on. It's not a big deal. So,
She just needed her little,
um,
15 seconds of fame there.
yep, yep. So yeah, I'm ready for the new God of War.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to talk about a couple independent comics I got. So one, I actually found this one last year, and finally came out. It's called Inglorious Rex.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
so it's by Shane Davis and Yanzi Lin, his wife,
Okay.
and it's signed and stuff like that. So this is a like a graphic novel. So it's sizable. I won't show what happens in there, or whatever. But it's it's the guy that wrote it, Shane Davis, is clearly into like MMA, and so he was talking on his show recently that he pitched back in the day to Marvel this idea of Iron Fist being like in a prison, and he's like forced into like a fighting ring with all these other villains, that the Kingpin is like running a fighting ring in prison,
Mhm.
and they turned it down or whatever. But he's always wanted to do a good fighting comic, and he
Okay.
also at the same time likes like Japanese monsters like Godzilla and stuff. So this
Sure.
is sort of combining those two things. It's cool because you get more accurate fight scenarios, but then with monsters in it as well. So the
Yeah.
fighters kind of pilot big monsters, like genetically designed monsters or whatever. Yeah, kaiju, Alan says, yes.
So it's kind of
So,
like Pacific Rim, except they're piloting monsters instead of giant robots.
yes. Yep,
Cool.
that kind of
Cool.
thing. And then it's for a fight thing. It's not like to stop
Save the
a
world.
threat of, yeah, like a creature that came out of the ocean or something like that.
Sure, sure.
This came with 2 books, and it came with this other one is like a supplemental. This is the one I've read so far. It's a little shorter. It's called Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Volume 1, and it's
Mhm.
designed, it seems, to kind of give a little background, a little more fill-in information on some of the
Sure.
characters. And so I probably wasn't supposed to read this one first, but I did. The There's 2 different artists for this one because there's kind of 2 stories in it, and the first one is in black and white, and then the second one, they by the other artist, is colored. I really dig the
Oh.
art of the latter story in this. I
Uh-huh.
wasn't Not that the art in the first one wasn't good, just wasn't to my particular taste.
Sure.
So yeah, that one I've read so far, and it's a good start. It's a good start.
Mhm.
So again, I probably wasn't supposed to read it in this order,
Eh,
but um,
well,
yeah, it
too late
happens.
now.
So yeah, anyways, that's that. It was cool. It was a good it's a good bundle. It came with like trading cards as well
Mhm.
for
Oh, wow,
characters
look
and
at those.
stuff. Yeah.
I
And
love that, that's so old school.
it's fun too cuz like some of the character ones,
Mhm.
they come with stats on the back, like old cards would and stuff, or like
Nice,
power
yeah.
levels and things like that.
Yeah,
So I think
that's
that's fun.
fun.
Yeah. So that's that. And there's a currently a campaign for Inglorious Rex 2.
Mhm.
So if someone wants to read this, you can go, it's on Indiegogo. You can get Inglorious Rex 2 and you can get volume 1 with it. So like
Mhm.
they're working on the next book. And so yeah,
Awesome.
that's that one. And then the one I just got today, um, Kozor.
Yeah.
Doesn't that look pretty cool?
I love that.
Pretty
I love the
pretty
background on
metal.
that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Just Descent into Madness. So it came with these some prints. Like I just think that
Wow. That
that art
detail
is
is
really
stunning.
good. I know, right?
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah, I'm a fan. It's very like Conan the Barbarian, Death Dealer, those sort of
Mhm.
things. Very kind of dark and but fantasy world. Um,
Mhm.
and I basically as soon as I got this today, I read it. So I've read
Mhm.
this one already. It's not super big, but it's got again very detailed, awesome art,
Yeah.
cool character designs. And again, I don't want to like I don't know give away things in here and show
I
pictures
love
that
that
are
I love that it's, like, muted but still colorful. Like,
yeah,
I mean, the previous comic, Inglorious Rex, that was very,
mhm,
like, 80s, like, pop color,
bright,
bright
yeah,
superhero. Yeah, absolutely, and this is, like, it's much darker feel, much more muted colors, but it's not, like, complete grayscale or just, like, an absence of color. Like, I
yep.
really like this. That's
Yeah,
cool.
there's like a bronze-ish to things. It's a
Yeah,
good
yeah, exactly.
um I'm a big fan of this art. So of all the independent comics I've supported so far,
Mhm.
this has been my favorite that I've
Okay,
read. I blew through it. I
solid.
definitely need to read it a couple more times because it's a lot of like I won't give spoilers other than like there is a creature that sort of plays with people's minds, kind of brings
Mm,
people, it's called Descent into Madness. And it this creature is messing with people's like perceptions and some of that. So you're not entirely sure always what is happening when.
sure.
There's sort of definitely a puzzle to unravel here, and it's going to continue in a volume 2. I was wondering, is like, is this going to wrap up in one book? Because that would be how is it going to do that? But it's not.
Mhm.
So it's laying a foundation, and I hope they can follow up with something that's as good. This is by Corey and Clayton Barton, so I think they're
Mhm.
brothers,
Okay.
and so it's kind of cool. It's like family thing that they're doing,
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
yeah, I just I don't know. Sometimes these books with then they're like kind of a Conan the Barbarian sort of thing, or Red Sonja, or something in this kind of vein get heavy-handed with dialogue. Like they're too
Mhm.
worried about like meathead action.
Mhm.
And it's like kind of loses all nuance
Mhm.
and the plot really isn't much to speak of and that sort of
Mhm.
thing. This isn't the case on this one. So that's
Very cool.
I'm happy about that is combining this really like dark, you know, horrible, awesome art with something that's well thought out as well. So yeah,
Sure.
this is my couple little recommendations slash reviews there.
Awesome. Yeah, kudos to, the creators of Kozor.
Yeah.
Well done
Yep.
comic.
All right. So, as mentioned earlier, gaming heavy show, a lot of new
Mhm.
releases.
Yeah.
Sonic Frontiers, God of War Ragnarok, Somerville, Pentiment, and Pokemon is coming soon. Pokemon Scarlet
Yes.
and Violet.
Yes.
Um,
To
yeah.
pause on that, Pokemon Go released, I don't know if you guys did this, but they did like a little side questy thing that you could do in Pokemon Go related to Scarlet and Violet, and then it turns out they're not like doing anything else with it. Like you had to collect these like special coins or whatever, and then they were like, "Yeah, we might do something with those. We're not sure, but not right now."
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It was basically just to like you because they were like, you can do something when the game is released, but only if you like have the game. And then they were like,
Mhm.
we're maybe not sure if we're gonna do something for everybody else too. Cause like there was a lot of
Oh,
backlash from
okay.
people who were like, I really tried to do the thing, so what the hell?
Yeah, they should have made it clear up front if they didn't about like,
Yes,
hey, if
that
you're
was
gonna
the
be getting
problem.
if you're interested in the Pokemon Scarlet or Violet game, you should really do this because it's gonna have a cool tie-in or something like that.
Right.
But
And
not
they
like
didn't.
spend your time and then if you're not getting that game, what a waste that was.
Right. So, yeah, so it was like the
So,
thing where you go around to stops and spin to get those, like, special coins, and people are just, like, going around trying to find these stops to get the coins and, like, traveling all over the place, and then it was like, "Surprise, it's for this game, but only if you have the game." So, yeah, not well done on that rollout, Pokemon.
well, Andrea, it's time to pick up that Nintendo Switch OLED model
I
and
know, I know. Perfect timing with a second baby, I'm gonna have some time on my hands late at night to just
that's
game it
right.
up.
Mhm. Yep. You can show, Everett all the cool little cute Pokemon and stuff as you're
Yes,
playing.
she has been, a Pokemon for Halloween these past 2 years, so she
That's
should
right.
really know, like, her origins here.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, I hope people enjoy that game.
Mhm.
Early word is sounding good, so,
Yeah.
that'll be fun. People are really liking God of War Ragnarok,
Mhm.
scoring very well.
Yep.
We can talk about a little later if we want. It was nominated for some game awards things.
Mhm.
Um Sonic Frontiers, kind of a reinvention, a little different version of
Yeah.
Sonic, open world thing. That's reviewing pretty well as also,
Mhm.
I think anything that wasn't, 5 out of 10 was going to be okay, not too bad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's been getting like, I think sevens and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, solid enough. Solid enough to, like,
hmm
call it a success, I think.
hmm and then I don't know where I'm going to have time for all this stuff because now Pendant and Somerville are coming out
Mhm.
this week. Um, Pendant and Somerville are both Pentin Pentiment and Somerville are
Pentiment.
both coming out on Game Pass this week, I think tomorrow or whatever. And Somerville is by the people that did Limbo and Inside, both which are very good.
Oh, sure.
And Pentiment is by Obsidian, who, I mean, their track record, recently they've done Grounded, but then Outer Worlds, which I'm playing, and they've done some Fallout games. They're
Mhm.
just all kinds of stuff. So, but that's one that maybe you'd be interested in. It's like a murder mystery, which you're saying you're into, kind of thing.
I was just gonna
A
say, it's
bit,
right up my alley right now.
yep. And
Catch me while
but
it's
it's
hot.
themed in like late medieval times, Germany,
Oh my
and
gosh,
so the
yes,
whole
this sounds very familiar.
yeah, it was in a game showcase that we watched. And so
Yes.
the art is all done as if it's like kind of from a old tome from the
Yeah,
time or whatever. And it comes with,
totally.
I understand, like an in-game glossary to like understand all the terms that were used during the
Oh,
time, because
oh,
otherwise
I
it gets really
love it.
confusing and stuff. So it
My
could be a
nerdy
really
heart
fun
is
thing
just
to
exploding.
dive into. So
Yes, I feel like I remembered this. I feel like I marked this in one of the showcases that
yeah.
we've watched. So I was like,
So I guess
"Man,
it's like a 10 to 20-hour game. And like if you haven't
yeah,
signed up for Game Pass yet, I think there's a sign up for $1 thing going on again for a month. So
sweet."
you could totally get that for $1 and then play Pentiment on your computer there. So
I love it.
yeah. Yep. And then movies too, huh?
Yeah,
Wakanda
just a
Forever
couple. Wakanda
is out
Forever. Yes, that's been
and
getting
Megan.
super mixed reviews. I really can't tell based on like people I follow whether it's good or bad. I mean, I truly can't. Um just like I mean, I know I've heard some what sounds like very valid criticism, and then I've heard what sounds like not like a glowing review, but just like this is a really solid movie and like these critics are missing A, B, and C points to what they're criticizing. So I'm just
Hmm.
sort of like I don't know if this is gonna like drive me to go see it in the theater or if I'm gonna like wait and, you know, catch it later. But at some point I really do want to see it just to like formulate my own idea.
Okay. So, what did you how do you think that Black Panther, the first one, sort of placed in the Marvel cinematic universe? How did you enjoy that
Sure.
one?
I think I placed it like in the like a little bit above middle for
Okay.
some of the cinematic offerings that the Marvel universe had. I placed it a little bit above mid. It wasn't my absolute favorite, but I thought it was very solidly done, and I loved the uniqueness of the story. I loved the acting. I loved like the huge scale world building that it introduced us to. And it's just
Okay.
that to me was really fun and unique about it. Like creating an entire country is just like something like I as a person who loves world building appreciates.
Okay.
Like that's one of my cuz like that's one of my favorite things about the new Lord of the Rings series on Amazon Prime is the world building. So,
Okay.
I mean, that's something that's always important to me. So, yeah.
The
It
I
is,
think
I
the
admit, like hard for me to imagine and nobody can do anything about this, but hard for me to imagine Black Panther without Chadwick Boseman.
yeah, well, that's the big question. So, how do you feel?
But
Like,
nobody had a
should they
choice.
have well, should they have gone the path they did, or should they have recast?
I mean, I don't know. I don't wanna say without seeing the movie and giving that opinion. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think that that's unfortunately for me an opinion I feel comfortable making without seeing the movie because they did something I think that's reasonable to do. It wasn't like a left field choice. It wasn't a choice that I was just sort of like completely like blindsided by, or it wasn't a like let's make his mom Black Panther and I just would have been like, "What?" Like I'm not
Sure.
feeling it. So it was a logical option. Was it the best option? I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I've been hearing more people talk about how like someone said recently that Marvel successfully took C-list characters and made them household names. Iron Man,
Mhm.
Captain America, these are
True.
C-list, maybe B as at best, and Black Panther as well. Um,
True.
and then they got rid of them all. Now, Chadwick Boseman, obviously not by choice,
Yeah,
and
right.
some of that.
Totally different story.
Right. Um, but the idea is that we have a lot of properties, whether it be James Bond or Batman, where we recast
Mhm.
to continue on that story because the character and the movie is bigger than any single actor.
Sure.
And, we recast again out of necessity Dumbledore. We didn't write out Dumbledore because of someone of an actor passing away.
Right.
So um it kind of I understand that perspective more. Like I at one point might have thought differently, like I because I think we both agree we don't like recasting.
No, we do
If
not.
you don't forced into it, recasting is not preferable. Even
Mm-mm.
like those are our big worrisome moments in House of the Dragon. Like, okay,
Yes.
we, like, we're gonna go through this. But you're gonna
Still
have
not my
kids
favorite.
that sure. You're gonna have kids that grew up now with Iron Man, and
Mhm.
then they don't have Iron Man anymore.
Mhm.
And they can go back and watch those movies, but can't we just keep going with Iron Man? And it's hard to imagine sometimes those things, but like we do again with Spider-Man. We've
Mhm.
had several different Spider-Men now,
That's very
and
true.
they all have their own value and bring their own image to it. It's always, if you love the portrayal, you don't want a recast.
Mhm.
But then you do, and if that person is up for the job, they bring their own thing. We get it
Mhm.
built in with Doctor Who. It's all this sort of thing. So I don't know. I haven't seen it, but more and more I think
Yeah.
that if Marvel really wants to go forever on these things,
Mhm.
they should have, instead of worrying about taking all these characters that they, you know, spent time to build up and become such massive things, instead of throwing that aside, they should have just kept them going and not worry about having them write them out. So,
Mm. Man, that would take Marvel in such a different place right now.
yeah, we wouldn't be like, who are the Avengers? Who
Right.
is it? We would know.
Yeah.
And you can still add new teammates, obviously,
Mhm.
but
Mhm. Yeah. So it feels yeah, I'm trying to like wrap my brain around this. Like I feel like I agree with you in part because I feel like the introduction of subsequent phases of Marvel has been sloppy. And there's been too much eagerness to break ties from previous characters. And not just characters that we were already just being introduced to, like Doctor Strange. You know what I
right,
mean? Like you can't use him as a spring step or a springboard from like, oh, he's left over from phase 1, so we can use him to like springboard into these other characters, and like people will feel, oh, it's safe, it's comforting, I know Doctor Strange. No, like
right.
not enough time. Like you need somebody like Iron Man or Thor, or Black Widow or Hawkeye, or any of the original Avengers here. I obviously just missed Captain America, which despite my dislike of Captain America was not intentional, I swear. um so I agree with you that there should have been some way, even if we didn't want to keep like Robert Downey Jr. Like, he's just like, listen, I've had enough. I just can't do it
Yep.
anymore. Like, recast him, sure. So that then you can maybe not have him have his own stuff, because I get that like your audiences can get tired of a thing, but like have him pop in and out and like be Tony Stark to ease this transitional like this transitional period where we are like, who are the Avengers, what's going on, like who are our core people, like make us have like a central tether so that we can return to that safety to say, okay, here's like our core base, we're branching out again, we have new people, but we still have this core that we're connected to.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So I agree that like there should have just been a recasting, I feel like in a very specific usage and in a very specific way. And we just don't have any of that right now. And that's why everything Marvel feels so untethered and feels so unsatisfying, because
Hmm.
we're back to square one of not caring. And it feels like
Yep.
we've invested too much in Marvel to not care.
Sure. Yeah. Back to square one
My
and
take,
not
my
caring.
take.
And yeah, and they're not, you know, they've really failed to make us care. It's on them. Like
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
thing. They managed to do it before, and they
Right,
can't do it
exactly.
anymore. It's not I'm so disinterested now. Like I listen to people talk about it and I see the trailers and stuff like that or whatever, but I'm
Mhm.
not, I just like I could care less. Someone was talking on a gaming podcast recently, like, we had our 10 years, we had, and Tony was talking about this kind of
Yeah.
idea
Mhm.
too. We had our 10 years, we had Endgame. That was long enough, like I'm
It
done,
was.
I don't, that's it. And
And I feel
I,
like
I'm
it even would have been fun for them to just like focus on the TV shows, because they're
sure.
like little extensions. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? They're not like brand new characters. Like
Sure.
Hawkeye, WandaVision, um yeah, I mean all of them really, Loki. I mean everything's just like a fun little extension and just like little what ify things and like little side
Mm.
stories and side missions and all of that. And that's like a way to keep it going, fresh content, but without like making us feel reset.
Yeah, but
To
people,
me,
I think
anyway.
I think there was I mean, people have been so trained now that there will be the next Marvel thing and it will lead to the next Marvel thing. And so you'd have to retrain an audience and break people of
Sure.
the idea of the notion that this really is part of a bigger picture. It is leading towards the next thing because, it's crazy that everything now feels like it almost exists more to lead to the next thing than to be
Mhm.
really good by itself, yet
Right, start
not
to finish.
managing to ever
Yeah,
like compile and mean anything. Like it's
yeah.
stunning how that is happening. Like, so yeah, I don't know. Well, if you see it, let me know what you think.
I will.
Uh I heard from Tara. Tara saw it,
Mm.
and that's the only person I know that's personally that's seen it yet. So yeah,
Thumbs up, thumbs
but
down?
meh.
Okay.
That's what it was. Kind of just like, yeah, it was okay. It sounds like there was some scenes where it's like really, really dark and hard to see. And it was again
Mhm.
like trying to hide special effects or something. Just like this would have
Oh,
been cool, but I could barely see it. So
sure.
yeah,
What is it with everybody in that?
yeah.
It's like a I don't know, it's like a trend right now. Just like
Well,
make
it's
it
they
all
don't
dark and shit.
they don't have the people and they're pushing them too far. So it's like, oh, this is what we gotta do. You can't
Sure.
see it this way. She liked. I think she liked Namor. I think she
Okay.
liked thought he was a hot guy anyways, so I don't know about
Alright,
how the
alright.
character is, but so,
But he's hot.
yeah. Yeah, I guess,
Sometimes that
yeah.
counts, man. Sometimes that counts.
So, yep.
Um, Speaking of
Yeah.
hot, a menu can be pretty hot. Things on a menu can be pretty hot.
That's true. Mhm.
Especially in, the new just released The Menu with Ray Fiennes. I believe there are some,
Yeah.
mysterious and strange things, on a
Mhm.
menu in this movie. So,
Yeah.
we
Well,
had watched the
that's
trailer
Ray
for this.
Fiennes, that's the
Anya
Beast.
Taylor-Joy.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, it
Nicholas
looks
Holt.
cool.
Nicholas
Yeah,
Holt
Nicholas
is the
Hoult,
piece
that's
that
what
you're
it is,
thinking
yeah.
of, yep.
He's a
Yeah,
versatile actor,
he
Nicholas
is.
Hoult. I
He
mean,
is,
going from, like,
surprisingly.
selling Jaguar, to
Yes.
being the Beast, to being, the crazy guy in Mad Max: Fury Road.
Yep,
Didn't recognize him at all at first in there.
yep.
So, yeah, he's
He's
versatile.
in the surprisingly cute Warm Bodies, like the zombie
Okay, yep.
movie where he's like a zombie who
Mhm.
falls in love with a human girl. Yeah. He does, and he's also in, Hulu's The Great, which is like the
Okay.
TV show about Catherine the Great. And, yeah, he does excellent work in there. I mean, he gets a fun part to play. He's a total buffoon, but
Mhm.
it takes somebody talented to pull that off without them being like completely ridiculous,
He's
like
underrated.
unwatchably ridiculous.
Mhm.
Yes, he is
Mhm.
underrated. I agree.
Mhm.
And
Well,
he's
are
just
you,
in a lot and he's in a lot well. So, but yeah,
yeah,
I'm excited about this movie. This is kind of feeling in my offbeat wheelhouse right now.
sure.
Like I'm
Yeah.
just sort of watching like these very like different movies. Like watching See How They Run, and right before that I rewatched Get Out and Us.
Mm,
Like just like these sort of like weird, like wacky horror, you know what I mean?
sure. I'd like
They're
to see
almost
some
like
more
a
foreign stuff
stylistic.
these days. Yeah,
Yeah.
just, like,
Mhm.
artsy. Mhm.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's kind of feeling in my wheelhouse for what I'm into right now. But sorry, you were gonna say something about foreign movies.
Well, just are you gonna manage to find time to see it, you think? To get to
Um,
the theater or wait till it
I don't
comes out
know.
at home?
I don't know. Chris and I are like, you know, trying to like plan out some date nights.
Mhm.
And we've been excited to get back to the theater. Like he obviously recently took me to see
Yeah.
Black Adam, which I was just like over the moon about. Um, so yeah, so we're just trying to like get back to like going out to the movies as like part of a regular date night rotation. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, he'd probably be more into Wakanda Forever than the menu, but we'll see. You never know. Sometimes he
Yeah.
surprises me and he's like, "Yeah, I saw the trailer for that. Look cool." So,
Right. Yeah. I would say like if I lived in the cities yet, I'd probably get the AMC pass thing,
sure.
because just it's a really good deal. Like if you can make the time to go to a movie a week, you know,
Mhm.
like you're gonna save money because obviously
Yeah.
going to the movie is expensive. So
Yeah. Hell yeah.
yeah. Okay. Well, I haven't looked at reviews. We'll see what they say about it and let us know
Um,
if you catch it.
I'm pretty sure it was trending well, at least like sevens or eights along the and like 89% on Rotten Tomatoes, I thought I saw. Let's see if I'm quoting that correctly. Yeah, 89% on Rotten Tomatoes and like a
Okay.
7 to 8 for IMDb.
Okay.
So, solid.
You you said you watched it recently. Get Out and what else? Something that would seem.
See How They Run, which is
Oh,
the one I
wasn't
was
there
talking
another
about
one
at the
too
top of the
that
show.
was by the same director?
Us?
Isn't that Jordan Peele? Yeah,
Yeah.
Us.
Watch
That's all
Us.
Jordan
Yeah.
Peele, right?
Yeah.
Have you?
Because
Did you
Nope
see?
just came out and I didn't see it yet.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask. If you
But I
saw
want
that?
to. I want to.
Okay.
I just was reminded of that, the other day I saw a trailer for it, I was like, "Yeah, that's right. I have to get out there and see that."
I always think they
Ah,
put
get out
together
there.
good trailers.
Mhm.
Uh, but
Yes.
I didn't love Get Out. I thought it was just okay. It was one of those things where it was so overhyped to me, and it's like,
Sure.
okay, you gotta watch it, you gotta watch. And I was like, I guess, it's all right.
I
Like
have
good performances.
yeah. I have watched it before and after the hype, and I'm very
Okay,
happy about that. You know what I
okay,
mean? Like, I watched it
hmm
before everybody was like, "Oh, it's so good." And then now I just recently rewatched it, like,
okay,
like, way beyond, like, everybody being like, "Oh my god, Get Out is so good." And it's
yep,
just, like, very nice to, like, not have that around me as I watch it.
okay. All right. We've got some news.
Mhm.
I was thinking I was gonna maybe skip some of these because I don't have much to say about it, and it'll
Sure.
run a little long here. But big one we want to talk about for sure, because he deserves our
Yeah.
respect here, is Kevin Conroy.
Mhm.
He has unfortunately passed away at only 66. I thought he
I
was older
know.
than this, but yeah,
I feel like it's because the Batman animated series feels like it started so long ago.
maybe, yeah.
It
He's
feels
always
that
looked
way
like
even though it's
thin
like
and older.
well, and I feel like the Batman series has always felt older even though it was like a part of our childhood. It just feels
Right.
like longer ago.
Yep. I saw someone post a thing that says humanity peaked or something like that at, or the peak of humanity, Batman the animated series. It just was like a good time and such an amazing show that like didn't have any right to exist. It was like
Yeah.
it was a show, an American cartoon in a time when this is not what American cartoons did. Like the
Mhm.
only time you'd be getting something this sort of caliber with a continuing story and drama really would be from anime, and it
Mhm.
wasn't particularly prevalent here at the time. So a lot of people, we've had in our discussions best Batman. A lot of people consider it Kevin Conroy. Like that voice is iconic for
It
the
really
role.
is.
And like he's spent a life being Batman, and
Mhm.
what a great role that I don't think there's anyone that complains about his standing as
No.
Batman. No one's
No.
like, oh boy, I didn't really prefer that. I don't think there's a
No.
single person like that. So
No, it's amazing how his voice like fills out the Bruce Wayne slash Batman of that series. It's amazing because you would not expect it from his physical body, but it's just such a perfect match from like top to bottom for that animated Batman. It's amazing.
Mhm. Yep. And he he did write the difference between Bruce Wayne and Batman. Whereas
Yes.
others, Christian Bale, try way
I
too
know.
hard.
I know.
This is just natural, you know? He sounds like he's a rich billionaire on the
Mhm.
town, or he sounds like a guy that you don't want to mess with. He's beating you up in the alley, you know? Like
Yeah.
it's perfect.
Well, and his
So
Batman had room for comedy too, which I
yeah,
mean, not to
actually.
get too into the weeds, um, is a failure, I think, of Nolan's. Like they're obviously not
Hmm.
about comedy and they're not really like the vehicle for that sort of thing, but I think it's part of the pressure that Christian Bale is under in those movies because there's no like true comedic moments. Like I was watching some
Hmm.
like greatest hits of the Batman animated series and there's dramatic, there's funny, there's heartwarming, um there's just like a range of emotion that just like you can't quite hit, I think, in something like Christopher Nolan's universe.
Yep. I argue that Christopher Nolan's trilogy doesn't age as well as like Tim Burton's movies. I think you can
Mhm.
still go back and watch the Tim Burton films, and in my opinion, still Batman Forever, and those hold up very well. The Dark Knight trilogy, though I'm very happy they exist and I like them, um, doesn't age as well. Like whether it's exposition, it's a couple of corny lines somewhere, whether
Mhm.
it's Batman's voice, or whether it's like the idea that we have to be uber realistic, yet
Yeah.
they say that and then don't do all kinds of things that aren't realistic at all. You know, like it's
Mhm.
oh, we want to only do things that feel grounded. So we don't want to have Bane actually like juice up and grow and get bigger and stuff like that. Yet at the same time, we're gonna have this giant, basically tank Batmobile jumping with a jet power thing
Yeah.
across the rooftops and not just falling through every building it touches. Because
Sure.
I just like it's not realistic. The movies are still complete fantasy, yet you want to feign that they're real so you can then like take away some of the more like I don't know, kind of cool supernatural elements of some of those
Mhm.
supervillains and such like that. So
Yeah, I mean, I agree that like Nolan's striving for realness and groundedness does hamper the movies in a like believability capacity and also an emotional capacity because when you're striving for that like uber realistic groundedness, like you feel like you have to be serious all the time. And so
right,
you can take some of the lightness and the joy out of it. And I think I mean, partially those movies are successful because of that because there is such like a dark, seedy undertone that especially works well in the second one. Though I don't know that that's really Christian Bale's doing. I mean, I think
right.
most of that is brought from Heath Ledger, who, very deservedly won accolades for that performance. So I agree with you that I think the trilogy overall doesn't hold up as well over time, especially Batman Begins. I think there were some really good elements to that movie, but there were some really just like tough to swallow parts. Including Liam Neeson's Ra's al Ghul and just like the whole like training
What?
notion
Uh,
montage.
I don't
I
know.
rewatching that, I actually have a lot of problems with that. I think the second and third are more successful because they're not the origin story. They're just like already just like set up. And I also like the supporting cast of characters better in the second and third. But I don't know. There is something in their own way dated about those interpretations because Batman isn't as serious on the whole when you look at like the run of different portrayals of Batman. They're a lot more emotionally and Storyline wise, they're just a lot more complex than this very like limited scope that Nolan has.
I mean, well,
It,
it's hard to say limited scope for Nolan just because of the scale, the size
yeah, I just
of,
mean like
you know,
emotional
and
range. Like it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
so like that like hard line realness just limits what you can
Mhm.
do, I think,
I mean,
with
he's
the
trying,
imaginative
when you talk
aspects
about
of Batman.
the Dark Knight, with the choice Batman has to make, his romance, and what happens with Two-Face. Like that's a emotional. Those are emotional moments and such.
Right, but like what I'm arguing is I think there's less of a range that he feels he can be in. Like if he gets too comedic, then it's not real.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like those are absolutely emotional moments. I don't mean to say that there's no emotion in those films because
Hmm.
there absolutely is. But when you have to be real, like I said, if you feel like you have to take everything seriously and you can't be funny, you can't be silly, you can't like, you know, have your Batman like look a fool at times or, just have
Hmm.
like a completely wacky side character. Like even your villains have to be super realistic.
Hmm.
So that takes away your options. Whereas like the Batman animated series isn't limited by that.
Yeah. Well, and helps being animated
It does.
and
It
as
does.
opposed to live action. And
But like
it's
Nolan's Batman never would have room for a villain like Harley Quinn
right. Right.
because she's
No,
she's
you
not
you do
serious enough.
yeah, it absolutely changes your choices, and I definitely appreciate both variations. I enjoy that there is, as much as I, would generally like things to stay true to source. It has been enjoyable over the years to see a variety of interpretations for the Batman. Um, I definitely have my favorites. The animated series and Batman Beyond being among them.
Yeah.
Um, it's definitely something we'll show to our kids. Hope they like
Mhm.
it. It's and
Same.
it with that style, with the range of classic villains and everything. It really is timeless. It helps with a cartoon, but also with the Tim Burton perspective where you create a bit of a fantasy-esque world. It's our world a little tilted, and
Mhm.
it makes it that helps create this timeless element where it's obviously not exactly our world, and
Right.
it's more fun to be in that way when you're like trying to like, no, this is Chicago, this is what's going to be. It takes away that an element that can be enjoyed and
Right.
survive for longer because it's now rooted to something a little more than developing its own world that you can kind of place more of your own ideas upon. So, but anyways, we've talked Batman a lot on the show. We'll
Mhm.
continue to
Sorry.
talk Batman a lot on this show. That's not going to change, but what will change, you won't be seeing Kevin Conroy as Batman anymore, unfortunately. So,
Yes.
um,
R.I.P., sir.
condolences to his family. Yeah. Um, Changing it up a bit,
Mhm.
condolences to the fans of Star Wars, I guess, because of the state it's in. But we will talk about what a lot of people feel is a pretty big bright spot in Star Wars right now is Andor.
Yeah.
So, what's to me hilarious is that Andor seems like the consensus is a pretty good Star Wars show and
Mhm.
kind of what a lot of people have been wanting for a long time. And
Mhm.
it comes right at a time when a lot of Star Wars fans don't care anymore. Because I'm one of
Yeah.
them. So it's too bad if this show had like been a show that launched kind of like here's us coming to Disney Plus or whatever, or it showed up right after the first season of Mandalorian or something like that. I think
Yeah, I was
this
gonna
would have
say.
been a different story.
Mhm.
Um, because Disney, I think, feels like they have a little something here And so they're going to be pushing the first 2 episodes of Andor out to a few other places. Um, those include ABC, FX, Freeform, and Hulu over
Yes.
Thanksgiving.
Smart.
So,
Very, very smart. Try to lure people back that way with your good
yeah.
show. And obviously,
Yeah.
I think Hulu is the smartest because generally those like people have the opportunity to then bundle with
Right.
Disney Plus. So like, yeah, do it.
Yep.
I mean, it can only help you, hopefully.
Yep.
I
It's
have not
interesting. Like,
oh, go ahead.
well, are we going to see more of this? I mean, do you think we're going to get Marvel shows doing this, or you
Yeah, I mean,
know,
this could definitely be a pilot for, I mean, they already do this in a sense when they drop like the first couple of episodes on the streaming platform to like gauge people's interest and like pique your interest in like continuing with
sure.
the season. So this is just an extension of that. It's just like making a deal with different networks to do it.
Yep.
So,
Well,
yeah,
and
this is a
I
test
mean,
case and we'll see how it goes. I'm fascinated to know.
Disney owns ABC and has a
Mhm.
large stake in Hulu. So I don't know about FX and Freeform, but probably that
Right.
too. I don't know. So,
Yeah,
they're
I mean
really not having to.
they must be cooperatively getting something out of this somehow, or they have the same like overarching parent network. Like I don't know, but
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think other people are going to be watching this closely to see if it works.
Yep. Yeah. Have you? I know you had you had watched some Kenobi,
Yep, we're just about to
and
finish that, so then we can start Andor. So I haven't started it yet because
okay. Have you ever?
we had paused that to finish House of the Dragon, which we've now done. So
Okay. Had you watched any of The Mandalorian? I thought you started that too, or no?
I have started it. Chris has finished it. Betrayer.
Okay.
And he also finished the Book of Boba Fett.
Wow, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, so he like just plowed right through that. He was just like too hooked from the minute he got in and just like had to keep going. So
with Boba Fett too?
yeah, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yep.
Oh,
You guys will have to talk about it sometime. But
that
yeah,
show is
he
so
really enjoyed
bad.
it. He really
That
enjoyed
one
it.
is I can't
I mean,
believe that.
he also comes to Star Wars from a different place than you do.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes.
But it was so cringy at times. Like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I couldn't,
Sure.
like,
And I
it's
mean,
one thing to make choices I just don't agree with. And it's
mhm,
other things to make moments that are just like, I can't hardly watch this. It's like,
sure,
I have to turn away. What am I
sure,
seeing right now?
sure. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell you how he thought of every minute of every episode, but I know on the
Yeah.
whole he enjoyed it. And I know he enjoyed it because he got to do it back to back and he was so in the Mandalorian universe and just like so there that he was having a lot of fun with like the interrelationship between the two shows and like the call outs and like things that he remembered right away because he had just watched The Mandalorian. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
Like
yeah.
that for him is like
Well,
part of the fun,
right.
which I
Well,
get.
Boba Fett is basically Mandalorian season 2.5. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah. Hmm. Okay. Well, that's disappointing, but I'll have to hear his thoughts sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, um, yeah. So that's happening for those of you
Mhm.
invested in that yet. Um, a little bit more game stuff quickly. I just want to see if you'd heard about the Game Awards nominees. They dropped today. Game
I
Awards is
did not.
happening early December, and maybe we'll have to talk about this next week and go through some of the categories or something like that.
Yeah,
But
sorry, I did not get a chance to see that those had dropped yet, so
yeah, I just thought about it
bad.
during the show. I should have thought of it earlier today. I saw Jeff Keighley was on
Mhm.
and announcing the nominations for all the categories, and I, I haven't gotten to
You had
see
some
internet
surprises in
reaction
there?
yet so much. Yeah, there's a few surprises, a lot not unexpected either.
Sure.
A lot of what would I would imagine would be there. So I don't know if some people are kind of shocked, but it seemed reasonable to me, or not out of
Yeah.
line with my um, predictions, I suppose. So we'll see. Everybody can go and vote in that right now if they want. So
Good to
Game
know.
Awards. And our final story for the night is one that's too long to like fully comprehend, but I definitely want to address it and get your thoughts on it.
Okay.
So, Doom is a very storied franchise. It's been
Right.
around for many years. It is credited as one of the earliest first-person shooters. That I don't know who officially claims that title. There was Doom. There was Wolfenstein, and there was some other ones or whatever. But anyways, it's been around a long time, and it kind of had a reinvention in 2016. There was
Mhm.
Doom, and it was brought back, and Mick Gordon was
Mhm.
the composer for that game. And a
Right.
large part of the game's identity was that soundtrack. He was on stage performing some of the music. It
Mhm.
really it really landed for people, this sort of metal vibe of what Doom would be. You're the
Right.
Doom Slayer, you're in hell slaying demons, that sort of thing. His score is spectacular. Well, they followed up that game with Doom Eternal. Now, I remember when Doom Eternal came out, there was some controversy because um, Mick Gordon was saying that his score was really flat on when you get the soundtrack, and
Yeah.
people weren't buying the soundtrack because it was like the mix of it was just flat, and
Mhm.
he apparently didn't get to mix it. So in game it's more dynamic and stuff like that, but on the soundtrack it was not. And there was a statement put out by someone on like Reddit that worked at the game,
Yeah.
that kind of was really going after Mick Gordon at the time. So years
Yes.
later now, we have a very large, long, very detailed statement posted on Medium from Mick
Yeah.
Gordon himself to respond. That's the setup.
Yeah. This is insane. Like I was trying to like scoot through some of like the response from Mick Gordon. Um and I mean my first like overall thought is he brought the receipts. You know what I mean? Like his
Yeah.
post is so detailed and with like screenshots, dated screenshots of very clear messages. I mean, to be fully fair, you'd have to release like every message that was like ever sent between anybody, but like
Hmm.
boy does this like really back up his account. Like it's not like he's making a strong statement just like I want to write this insanely long letter about what I feel about the situation, dates, names, XYZ, and then have nothing to go with it. I mean, just the absolute sheer overwhelming, and thoroughness of this statement is
Yeah.
astounding.
Think of the time this took,
It's put
to put
together.
together this table of contents and
Yes.
stuff. Yeah.
Much more
Like,
than like this open letter.
yeah.
I mean,
Hmm.
to be fair, the open letter from Marty Stratton, um,
Hmm.
I mean, has several like valid points about like some people behind the scenes getting shit for things that like they're not responsible for. And the statement from Mick Gordon also has like very clear like I do not want people to take this as permission or opportunity to go continue to shit on these other people because
Right.
they're not the problem. So to be fair, I really like that both sides have explicitly called out like names and titles of people who should not be involved in this.
Right. Yep.
So,
Yeah.
this is
It's an
insane.
interesting read. At the end, there is a summary of facts, which
Yep.
I think is pretty interesting. He calls out. So for people that you should go look at this, but for people that have not seen this, and because some of the stuff going on, like Mick Gordon. In the summary facts here, it says I haven't been paid for over half of Doom Eternal's music.
Yep.
They had stuff where he was announced being attached to a project before he was actually contracted to do
Mhm.
so. He apparently like he said earlier that like Marty was a very like oppressive sort of presence all the time in
Yeah.
his work life here. It's also crazy that it's crazy that someone publicly comes out and throws someone under the bus that is so critically
Mhm.
important to your product.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of nuts, really. Um, so I don't know.
Well,
It's
this is um this is feeling like a trend, that if you're going to call out people as the problem in something, they're going to respond to you in, maybe full, half, partial, varying degrees of bringing the receipts that they have. But I mean, this is just like another example of like the situation we recently went through with uh
Bayonetta.
yes, thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
It's like right at the tip of my tongue. It's like the same deal, only, we didn't
Yep.
have like as many things to like back that up.
Yep. Yeah, his opening thing here says Marty lied about the circumstances surrounding the Doom Eternal soundtrack. He used disinformation and innuendo to blame me entirely for its failure. Offered him
Yep.
a six-figure settlement to never speak about it.
Yep.
Um, Crazy. That's crazy. That
Right.
says you knew you did something wrong.
Right.
Um, he says Marty's Reddit posts severely impacted both my professional and personal reputation. Um,
Right.
and it's I don't know.
Because
For
reputations
me,
are huge.
yeah,
Like you can't be
yeah,
that like difficult person to work with.
right, yep. And Mick is so talented. He scores one of my favorite games ever, and Prey, and
Mhm.
absolutely
Yep.
great music in there. Um, I, for me, like, I don't think I'm making too big a deal out of this to say that if there's another side, if Marty has more information here, Marty Stratton, that
Mhm.
somehow exonerates him in some way here, we need to hear it. Otherwise, if
Yeah.
Mick is on about this stuff, Marty needs to be gone. Like you can't you to me this is such a bad look for id Software, someone that's been in the business a long time,
Mhm.
to do this to a well-known and very important to your IP
Mhm.
composer. I just think that you know, and again, I'm not saying this for sure because if there's another side of the story we don't know
Right.
that changes something, then so be it. But with the way it looks at the moment, with all the receipts provided, Marty needs to be gone. Like
Yeah.
there needs to be official apology, and I don't think that it's okay that id Software or Bethesda or
Mhm.
Microsoft doesn't officially address this, um, because it smells rotten. Then that
Mhm.
suggests you're not
Right.
willing to keep a clean house.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I can see this going several ways. Like you said, the biggest outlier would be if Marty's got something that he's able to release to exonerate himself. If this is coming from somebody higher up that he's going to eventually be the fall guy to protect, then he's just going to have to take that on the chin, unfortunately. Is that fair? Hell no, but it's definitely a possibility. As
Mhm,
to, he's either one not got the receipts or two has them but isn't able to release them.
mhm,
The second way it'll go is he'll I think this is a public enough situation, and Mick has got so much going for him in the way of proof that Marty will either be let go and acknowledged, or he'll be let go because nobody's going to want to work with him
right.
if he's willing to do this to somebody. Like,
Mhm,
if he's so publicly willing to do this to somebody and somebody who has all of this, evidence to back up his side of the story, then and they never like address it, then they're just going to quietly fire him because nobody will want to work with him again.
Yep. Yeah. I can see that. I I think it was Colin Moriarty pointing out recently, prolific PlayStation podcaster, saying how like this guy is not even he's not a creative. He's like it's like
Mhm.
management, bean counter kind of thing. It's like he's said not to be rude, but you're replaceable. Like the people
Yeah,
that are way harder to replace are the
creative.
creatives.
Yep.
Yeah, because you can't just like replicate that. And
Mhm.
versus you can get someone that went to school and can run a program or can,
Right.
that kind of thing. So it really seems extra out of line to get so much hassle from someone that is replaceable when Mick
Mhm.
Gordon isn't. Obviously, you can obviously get someone else, but it will be different then. It's not going to be the same.
Yes.
You can't just make a new Mick Gordon and have the same product. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, this
Well,
is I'm still scrolling through like all of his proof and emails and like notes and things, and it's just like onslaught.
mhm.
And it's not even like I don't even feel like this is something where he's like just throwing in detail to overwhelm you and just be like, okay, well, you obviously have it just because like I can't get through all of this. Like every point is like painstakingly explained
Yep.
and thought out and backed up. So it's just like it's not an onslaught of insignificant detail. It's like actual real detail. So
Yep.
this is just insane.
He says, like, blowouts. As development progressed, it became obvious whoever thought up the music budget also had no idea about the game's true scope. Stages blew
Right.
out in size far beyond what had been anticipated. Hour-long levels where players traverse fantastic worlds with epic vistas and tricky platforming sections had just 30 seconds allocated to exploration music. Doom's
Mhm.
mantra is wall-to-wall music, which made this oversight seem laughable. I was able
Mhm.
to convince id Software to dedicate more minutes to these areas, but only after wasting valuable time on unnecessary demonstrations to prove that 30 seconds wasn't nearly enough. To compensate for the shortfall, they didn't unlock any more budget. Instead, they reallocated minutes from the game's
Mhm.
combat music pool, meaning other areas had less music as a result. I
Mhm.
worked desperately for months, trying to stay on top of things. He was eventually cut out of music meetings. Emails
Mhm.
went unanswered, and it's like
Yep.
this was the follow up game. He did the one before. Like, what changed? How? It's one of those again. Where is their mindset here, and how is this happening? When you made one successful game with this person, now you're
Right.
making another one, and you don't understand how to do it.
Right. Yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah. Yeah, it baffles me. I mean, unless this was like an entirely new creative team or management
Yeah.
team, but
Right.
still, you think they would have something. You would think that they would
Take the
be
notes from
coming
the last team.
right, and you think that they would be coming in with at least like a modicum of respect for like the person who's going to be doing this again.
Yep. And this company's owned by Microsoft now. You have no excuse not to have him. He's not paid.
Yeah,
No excuse,
absolutely. Absolutely.
So, but yep. Well, that's that. It's a fun evening read if anyone wants to read that.
Or several
Medium.
evenings if you need to break it up.
Yep. It says here 58-minute read, and you can listen
Yeah.
to it. You can hit play right at the top.
Yeah.
So,
It's lengthy is an understatement. So get ready, buckle in.
long commute,
Yep, yep. Don't wanna
to and
listen to the
back from work.
radio?
Yeah. Yep. So, all right. Well, that's all our news for the week. That's
Mhm,
our show for the week. Um, Next week we're going to be getting finally finishing House of the Dragon. Then
mhm.
we've got webtoons coming your way and the
Yep.
cyberpunk anime, and we've got other shows, some canceled, to finish up anyways. So, and we're gonna have to have Chris on here to like, I don't know, for him to try to defend the book of Boba Fett.
For him to answer for
And
himself.
yeah, and the pair of you can explain yourselves for Kenobi, however, whatever you end up thinking of that. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, but yeah. So, anyways, Popcast on the Rocks, episode 126. That'll be it from us. Make sure you please follow, share, subscribe on all the things: Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. If you listen on Podcast Directory, please leave a review there. That'd be much appreciated. Thumbs up videos where you can. If you listen on Spotify, you can listen audio or also watch the video on there as well. So that's that. If you follow a show that we're into, try to put together playlists on YouTube so you can go through and easily see and access all the videos that when we're talking about Westworld or Doom Patrol or something like that. So, yep, go ahead and check that out. And Killing the Flower, they wrote our theme song. So go ahead and give them a look on YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram, and Apple Music as well. They have a new song that's out just recently. So go ahead and listen to that. Otherwise, that'll be it from us. Andrea, thanks once again for joining me.
Of course. Cheers, everybody.